Welcome back to the channel. Today we continue my deep dive into the 2024 NFL draft class, this time talking about the interior offensive line. We're going back to the hog mollies, and remember I gave you my top 10 in this video, so let me know who you think should have made the list in the comment section below, and I'll talk about a few other guys who maybe were just missed the cut at the end of the video. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, get into it with number 10. We got Christian Haynes out of Yukon, Connecticut, 6'3", 310 pounds. He's a former two-star recruit, so yeah, not a high pedigree with this cat, but did wrestle in high school. Went to UConn's, been there for the last going into 6 seasons, so he's a 6-year senior. Redshirt his rookie freshman season. They did cancel the season in 2020, so bam, there's his extra year of eligibility. But he has been a starter since 2019. Became the starter in 2019 at right guard. They canceled the season, came back, starter every game at right guard. Did it again, was first team all independent last season. Probably could have been a fringe day 2, early day 3 pick if you decide to come out in the 2023 class. But here he is in the 2024 one, and the dude is just a smooth mover. Quick feet, covers a lot of ground relatively easy. There's little wasted movement with him, his hands, his footwork. It's all pretty stellar. He's quick out of his stance, typically the first to the point of attack, and he is actually a pretty darn physical pass protector with a very good anchor and a very strong punch, like ta-ta. Good punch there. Plays with that nasty nature the NFL loves, understands blocking angles, and throws just those precise jabs. However, you will see that he struggles to gain and maintain leverage, just needs to sink his hips a little bit better, just get lower rather than just taking on defenders while standing tall. Kind of limits what he can do in a phone booth and what he can do in like inside blocking schemes. And he did make some strides as a pass protector, but he still looks a little bit awkward when sliding back into pass protection. But kind of some nitpicks. Older prospect, but a lot to like here. I think could be maybe a plug and play starter from day one. So I got a 3rd round grade on him. It was the same grade that I had on him going into last year's draft. So I don't know how much you could really build upon with Christian Haynes. I said Hayes. It's Haynes. All right, let's go to number 9. I got Javion Cohen out of the U, baby. To be fair, he was at Alabama previously, but it is what it is. He's 6'4", 305, former 4-star recruit. Spent his first 3 years at Alabama, where he was a starter at left guard in 2021. Started 10 games at left guard in 2022. But yeah, eventually decided to transfer. He did come off the bench in a couple of games last season, so he was kind of in and then out of the lineup. But he goes to Miami, where admittedly the competition's not great. That's just the Hurricanes. They got a lot of talent, but not along the offensive line. Dude has the ideal size, as athleticism for and explosiveness, I would say, for the position. He's got a nice wide base. He hits defenders with heavy hands. They can just really demoralize smaller pass rushers. Sets a very good anchor. Does a good job of resetting if he needs to. He does so, doing it quickly. He maneuvers blocks well in the run game. Takes advantages of just taking great angles. And he is honestly at his best when working up to the second level, when he's climbing or when he's coming out as a pooler, when working, especially when working on like double teams or duos, just rattle off those combination blocks is like hit and go. So very good climbing uphill, explosive out of the stance, and reloads when hitting guys in space. So a guy you want to definitely get out in front of when it comes to screens and whatnot. However, he can be a bit aggressive. So what does that mean? He's probably gonna overextend. He's gonna go past his toes, and he might turn into a lunger in the run game. So also not playing with a lot of balance. You kind of see that there doesn't really have the quickness to recover from such losses, like especially in the passing game, where if you're too aggressive, then guys like out in front of you, with the guys out in front of you, then they could just rattle off a good counter, and just get inside of you if you're too aggressive, and in the depth of your step back. There we go. But yeah, if you could kind of like reel back that aggression there, I wouldn't say his hands are really anything special. He's not as powerful as he can be in the run game. Doesn't always get the necessary leverage. Will put his head down when trying not to be pushed back. Part of that comes from just not sinking well enough. So you kind of like, if you're getting pushed back, typically your head comes down because maybe you have a weaker core. So you're just trying to like, it's kind of like an ab machine. You're trying to like get that curl, get that crunch going. But when you have that pressure pushing against you, you're putting your head down, dipping, trying to use it kind of like a mini anchor, and it just doesn't work that way. Just really, it doesn't. He isn't the kind of guy that I think can displace defenders either. But there is a lot to like about Cohen. It's just where's his ceiling, and I don't think it's particularly high. Got him as a third rounder. I'm excited he's on the Hurricanes, so. Number 8, Ladarius Henderson out of Michigan, formerly of Arizona State, though. 6'5", not 3'5", 6'5", 310. Got a third round grade on him. Could end up being a tackle. He's actually sounds like he's gonna be playing tackle for the Wolverines, so that's gonna be interesting. But played the last 4 seasons at Arizona State as a freshman. He actually started at left tackle, started 10 games at left tackle, and was 17 years old when he made his first start, being in week 3. Then in 2020, he played in all 4 games. It was a shortened season, but he was splitting time between right tackle and right guard. And then he actually moved to the guard position full time in 2021, and he's actually played there the last 2 seasons. He had a hand injury that ended his season early last year. Could have played part of the reason why he decided not only to return, but now transfer. Now he's at Michigan. But the dude has an imposing frame. Like his limbs are thick. We're talking thickums. Plays with that finishing mentality. He's strong enough to move piles, and he is just tough to win against with power. He plays with a big anchor. Quick off the snap too. You love to see that. Good short area quicks as he's playing in that real outside zone blocking scheme over there at Arizona State. Good lateral movement. Good movement skills in general. And I like the combination of athleticism and power. It really allows him to play in any scheme, and he has experience all over the offensive line. Remember, played left guard or left tackle, played right tackle, right guard, then left guard. Now we might be seeing him kick out back to, I think it's specifically left tackle there with the Wolverines. Sometimes he does play a bit too high, struggles to maintain leverage, doesn't always put himself in the best position to make blocks, and it's very apparent when he gets moving vertically. So climbing to the second level, sometimes he'll overshoot second level defenders, and hand placement just needs work. He needs polish with his hands. He lives his strike zone a bit open, and his hands are relatively easy to swat away. So I want to see, he's got the strength. I just want to see him use his hands a bit stronger and throw better strikes and whatnot. Might profile better as guard in the NFL. I don't know. We'll find out through this process, but I got him as a third rounder, another guy that we thought could possibly would have been in last year's class, but decided to return given the hand injury and whatnot. Number 7, I got Cedric Van Granger, a man of many names, out of Georgia, 6'4", 310. I think this is the first center only on the list, but dude was former 4-star recruit. But the dude competed in track and field in high school, and he placed 7th in shot put at the Louisiana High School Class 4A championships with a toss of 47 feet and 10.5 inches. The 10.5 inches is everything. It's everything, I tell you. He was a runner-up, so in a later regional meet in shot put, qualified in discus and javelin. So that's how he was involved with track and field. It was really just a reserve in 2020, and in 2021, though, he became the starter at center, playing in all 15 games. He actually had the most percentage of snaps played compared to any other Bulldog on the team. So like to see that. Started all games in 2022. A lot of people kind of pegged him as someone that was going to come out last season. Decided to return for another year. Got a midday 2 grade on him, and the dude's just a very explosive athlete. Like, he shows good foot speed when on the move, climbing to the second level. He plays with a big motor and kind of ideal for today's wide zone blocking scheme. Like, we just started the deep dive series, and already, like, I'm telling y'all, like, half the league is running this wide zone concept. So he's kind of built for today's NFL, plays with good understanding of blocking angles. He gets out in space relatively quickly and can get out in front of screens. He's very effective at washing defenders out of the way in the open field. Keeps a good anchor, shows good core strength. Again, doesn't have that bend. Never putting his head down, keeping his head up, looking around what's going on around him. Love to see that. Yeah, man, just wants to bury guys in the run game and has that necessary pop in his hands. However, there's some ruggedness to his game. He seems he's always on the ground. He's on the ground a lot. Sometimes it's him being a lunger at the second level. And he just needs to do a better job of keeping his feet moving through contact and not necessarily going stationary, but like trying to push through his feet and trying to lay like a final finishing blow, man. It just doesn't work that way. You don't want to end up on the ground that far too often. And I mean, if it's possible to extend your block further or to continue being a blocker downfield, then you want to do that. You don't want to just take yourself out of the play and actually causing more roadblocks. Then just don't lay out. Does struggle to sustain blocks in the run game. Part of that is a lack of upper body strength and ideal length. Like he reaches to get to the point of contact and sometimes struggles to latch on. Part of that causes some of the balance issues, but we're talking about a prospect with a lot to like that can move up much higher on this list if he puts it all together this coming season. Number 6, Christian Mahogany out of Boston College, 6'3", 333, redshirt his freshman year at Boston College in 2019, but he's been a starter ever since, whether it was in 2020 at left guard, 2021 at right guard, but unfortunately had to miss all of last season because of the ACL. If you went back a year ago and checked out my interior list, he was in the top 5. Unfortunately missed the season and said early on, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to return for another year. So here he is. So hopefully he can just stay healthy. Love to see him back on the field because this dude's a mauler, man. He can easily overwhelm defenders with an explosive lower body, legs that just continue to move through contact. If you're not new to the channel, you know I absolutely love guys that keep their legs moving through contact, man. I love those leg churners, man. He's like a machine. Shows good movement skills as well, climbing to the second level and just absolutely obliterating people. He's got a thick build, shows good core strength when taking on bull rushers, and one of his best games actually came in 2021 because keep in mind, didn't play in 2022, but you go check out that Clemson game in 2021 where he was just manhandling a very talented Clemson Tigers defensive line, like one after the other. We're talking like Tyler Davis. We're talking Miles Murphy, and company. What other guys? You got Rook. You have wasn't not positive if oh gosh, why is his name now escaping me? He got drafted by the Saints. Here, I'm just gonna put Saints Bryce. That's not helping me. Oh, Brazee. Brian Brazee. I said Bryce. Brian Brazee. There we go. I think Brian Brazee was hurt by then, so I don't think he played in that game. But still, regardless, that's a very talented line to be able to basically solo by yourself. Throws very jarring blows, can hold rushers' momentum, put them in a standstill, just manhandle defenders with exceptionally strong grip, plays with good leverage, understands blocking angles, receives very high praise from his coaches and his teammates, especially his coach, like Jeff Hafley, the coach at Boston College, puts him on the level of a Zion Johnson who went in the first round in 2022. Now, some of the things is coming off the ACL injury, so it's important to see how he looks this year when he first see how he looks coming back from the injury. He is a bit awkward in terms of his stance. He seems a bit hunched over. It really hasn't come to a detriment with him, but it's something, it's probably a non-worry, but it's something that you look at that it's like, that's kind of funky. But I got him as midday 2. I kind of feel better, or I feel closer to him about him being like just a second rounder. But as you'll see, this offensive interior class, at least as of right now, looks very, very good. So let's go ahead, get to the top 5 with Bryce Foster out of Texas A&M, 6'5", 325, former 4-star recruit. And this is actually an important part of his background because he won Texas 6A shot put title as a senior while also recording a 3rd place finish in the discus. And that becomes important because it's something he's continued since arriving at Texas A&M. He started all 12 games at center his freshman season in 2021, was a SEC All-American, and then he only played in 4 games this past season because he suffered a season-ending knee injury. However, he was still, as he recovered, he was still going to participate in track, right? So he missed all his spring practices, by the way, because he was too busy winning in the discus. He went on to the island relays and won that. He placed 3rd in the Florida relays, all for shot put. So it's like, I put this as a concern. It's not a concern for me, but it's something that's going to be asked. There's going to be questions about Foster's commitment to football after choosing to participate in track and field for shot put instead of participating in the spring practices. I'm not worried about it, but it's something that other people might have concerns with. So I'm just going to throw it out there. But there's a lot to like about Foster. I don't think it's fair to evaluate his 2022 season. But going back and looking at him as a freshman, dude made Bruce Feldman's freaks list. Like, dude could bench over 400 pounds, which, I mean, shouldn't be a surprise. He's an all-star shot putter. He has stupid strength, plays big, powerful. He's got a powerful frame. And on top of that, man, he's actually a pretty darn smooth mover. He can cover a lot of ground with his legs, and he's shown great movement skills. He's also very explosive athlete, just comes firing off snaps. He plays with a good bend, consistently gets good leverage. He can play in really any blocking scheme, but kind of made for today's wide zone blocking scheme. Hand placement is a bit inconsistent and doesn't necessarily take advantage of how powerful he is because he does miss his strikes. But again, very young player that really only has 1 full year of starting experience, but definitely warrants being thrown here on the list. I think he's going to be in that day 2 discussion. Where he ends up landing, it's going to be another question altogether because we got to see how he plays in 2023 after missing most of 2022. Number 4, Zach Zitner out of Michigan. This cat actually played for Michigan last year, unlike Ladarius Henderson, 6'6", 315. Fun fact, he holds his high school's record in shot put, so that's kind of cool. But came to Michigan, started, or at least played in all 6 games in the shortened season, but started 4 of those at right guard. And then he started 12 games at right guard in 2021. Then he started all 14 games at right guard in 2022. The dude has solid size, plays with good depth, has good knee flexion. Like, he gets low out of his stance and he plays low. He plays with good leverage. He packs a lot of power in that frame, and you can just see it in his hands. Plays with a mean streak, does a nice job of generating a push at the initial point of attack. Like, you go on Twitter, there's this video of him just dominating 2 Penn State defenders in a matter of seconds. It's a thing of beauty. It's one of the most dominant reps you will ever see from anyone in this class. And I mean, along with violent hands, man, he shows an understanding of blocking angles. Again, been starting a long time there at Michigan. He's pretty good about knowing when a stunt is coming or when blitzes are coming. However, I will say he doesn't always display the agility and the speed to effectively get around as a pulling guard. He sometimes struggles in space and will have a tough time consistently landing blocks on the second level. So that's something to watch for. But I got a second round grade on him. He was probably someone that could have ended up being a day 2 player if he decided to come out last season. But here we are talking about him for 2024. Number 3 on the list, this might be a hot take, Donovan Jackson at Ohio State. I've seen him as consistently as a number 1 prospect for the interior. And I'm not there yet, but I also think the 2 guys ahead of him are exceptionally good. But I got him at 6'4", 320. He was a former 5-star recruit. Here we go. Let me... Just saw a typo. I had to get that out of my notes. He played as a reserve in 2021, but he started all games last season, all 14 games last season. Was it 14 or 13? 13 games last season. At left guard, was a first team all Big Ten. And the dude's just, he's huge. He's got a big frame. He's got ridiculous length. He combines that with good hip flexibility, and he's almost impossible to move once he digs in his feet. He's very stout at the point of attack. Shows good. He's good at combo and blocks off and getting upfield fairly quickly, looking for someone to bury. So he's got that NFL mentality, just rest in peace, Undertaker, baby. But very incredibly strong, strong grip. Continues to turn his feet through contact. Absolutely love it. Basically, he's a train clearing a path. So get behind the caboose and follow. Very good with his hands. Will sit in a phone booth and throw down with defenders. Again, with that length, that strong upper body, he's just a really good hand fighter. I don't think he's an elite athlete, but to be fair, on the interior, you don't really have to be. And while he isn't particularly quick out of his stance and may have really just average foot speed, he's such a dominating force. It really doesn't matter. It is worth to note that he did struggle last season against quicker, more explosive players in pass protection. You could go back to the Northwestern game against Adetomiwa Adebari. You could go to the Georgia game against Jalen Carter. Those quicker, more explosive guys did give him troubles, something to note. But I think Jackson is a cat that probably kind of falls in the Osiris Torrance level. However, I do think that while Osiris Torrance was more of he's a dominating size, Donovan Jackson takes that dominating size and he has that enforcer mentality behind him. Rather than just being the big mountain, he brings the bulldozer as well. That makes any sense. All right, let's just go ahead to number 2 on my list. I got Bo Limmer out of Arkansas. He is 6'5", 306, former 3-star recruit. He squatted 605 pounds, and then he benched 445 during winter workouts this past year. I fully expect him to be on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. But he spent the last 4 seasons at Arkansas, redshirted his freshman season, started 5 games at right guard, then went on to start another 11 games at right guard in 2021. Then you got this season, it looks like he's making the move to center. He started the first 12 games at right guard, and then when it came time for the Liberty Bowl, Ricky Stromberg decided to pull out and prepare for the draft. He moves to center. I think that's probably where he's going to end up this year. So you're seeing a little bit of versatility, positional versatility, because he dominated Liberty, but it's Liberty. To be fair, I think Liberty almost won that game. Was it Liberty? I think it was Kansas. It was Kansas. I don't know. They both got the blue and red. It was Kansas. So it was a Power 5 school, but you'd like to see how he does that against other like SEC competition. Not to take anything away from Kansas, but there are more talented players and future NFL prospects in the SEC. So it'll be interesting to see how he does that. Like honestly, he does a great job of comboing blocks and getting to the second level and just laying out linebackers that I think it's going to be no problem. Like he's a borderline first round prospect for me. Like he's willing to get to the point of attack and just finish. Like he is so tough and so strong at the point of attack that he could finish these guys relatively quickly. He's quick to pick up blitzes, and he shows no panic. He easily adjusts to angles, resets his feet quickly. He can recover and reset his ankle all relatively quickly. He shows good foot speed. He could get moving pretty darn fast. He's kind of ideal for today's wide zone blocking scheme. He plays with that bury those in front of me mentality. And if you watched my defensive interior rankings, you'll remember what actually got me onto Limmer was, I think I'm saying his name right, but Bo Limmer I was watching Dante Corleone. I was watching The Godfather for the Cincinnati Bearcats, and I had to basically throw that game away because I was like, okay, well, this is Corleone's first collegiate game played ever. I felt like he got dominated at points by Limmer. Limmer was that good, man. He just plays low, he plays with good balance. You see good bend in his knees, moves through contact, good hand usage. I mean, there's a lot to like about him. Some of the things I think he get better at. Sometimes he does overextend when getting to the second level. And I will say, while he has quick feet, I don't think he's particularly when you think of rangy athletes, I really wouldn't put Limmer in that, but I don't think he's like bad at it. I just think he creeps closer to average than high end when it comes to his general movement skills. But I'm a big fan of Limmer, man. I think he's got a really high floor. But my number one is Cooper Beebe, who made my list last year. Decided to return. Probably would have been another guy that was probably in the day two discussion. Got him as kind of a fringe first rounder at this point, but he's 6'4", 332. Redshirt his freshman season in 2019. Played at right tackle and left tackle in 2020, and then in 2021 started all 13 games at left tackle, was first team all Big 12, moved to left guard, was first team all freaking American. The dude is good. He's really light for a 330 pounder. You'd be hard pressed to believe he was actually that big. He's very athletic for his build, but he's still jam-packed with a ton of power, plays with good balance. He can overwhelm defenders right from the point of attack. He has strong hands, strong grip. Once he gets his hands on you, then you're basically at his whim. You're his dancing partner for the rest of the snap. He combines that with good quicks, and just he's got that NFL mentality. The NFL loves that nasty go bury him mentality. Very disciplined with his technique. Hardly ever lost if you go back to 2021 at left tackle, and the same is true at guard. You can tell he allowed no sacks. I believe he's allowed no sacks the last 2 seasons. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at versatility, like a guy that has played tackle before. If you need it in a pinch, like this dude is a guard at the next level. But if you need him to play tackle in a pinch, I think he can do that. He's been praised by coaches for his work ethic and smarts. But some of the things, if you're not gonna like Beebe, is he can be laid off the snap. There are times he loses the leverage battle, plays tall. But I mean, these instances are kind of few and far between. If anything, it's like being late on snaps more consistent than him not playing with a really good leverage. As a run blocker, you can't get overtly aggressive and turn a bit into a lunger. He's more comfortable at attacking, and sometimes he could look a little bit clunky in pass protection, which probably mainly a lot of people were saying this after the 2021 season, which that's where everyone was like, oh yeah, he plays tackle, but he's going to be a guard at the next level. And I think he can be. I think he can be a very high-end guard at that. Big fan of his game. Probably would be like one of the top interior players taken if he came out of the 2023 class. Chose to return for another season. And here we are another year talking about Cooper Beebe. But that's it for the list. I'm going to name a few other guys that just missed the cut here. But I'm going to have safeties coming up next week, so be on the look for that also. I've started my deep dive series. I'm like 2 teams in, so go ahead and support those. But a couple of guys that just barely missed the list. I just want to talk about a couple of them. We got Connor Kobe was the guy on the outside looking in for Iowa. He's a bit tall, so someone who's going to struggle to consistently play with good leverage. And I know a lot of people will look at how he did last year and be like, oh, he wasn't all that good. He wasn't all that good at playing at tackle. Like, his tackle play was pretty terrible, but once he moved to guard, he was really, really good. You got Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. Kind of feel like he's kind of more akin to these higher floor, low ceiling type of players. You got Isaiah Adams out of Illinois, really good mover. Illinois has got some prospects this year. Why has Illinois kind of been a low-key, like, pushing out NFL prospects? It's kind of wild. But a personal favorite of mine, he's currently offensive interior 15 for me, is Joshua Gray, who currently plays left tackle at Oregon State. Kind of profiles maybe better as a guard. I'm kind of more curious to see if he could get and stay above 300 pounds. People I haven't gone over yet, Sincere Haysworth out of Tulane and Mason McCormick out of South Dakota State. Those are guys I'm just going to tell y'all now I'm going to be later too in the process, and probably won't get into them until the 2023 college football season actually starts. So just a heads up there. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.